Eagles, I'll say the Eagles will make the playoffs is if you give the ball to LaShawn McCoy 28 times a game.
Now, if you are right, Frank, and the Eagles do make the playoffs, how far do you think they will end up going?
I'll give them. They'll win the first playoff game, but that's it. Because they'll probably end up playing Green Bay or whoever, New Orleans or someone. I think they beat those two teams.
If they make it, I don't see them. I think if they make it, they'll probably make the NFC Championship game. I say that because you would have to. They have to go 7-1. The rest of the schedule, and for them to go on that type of roll, you carry that type of momentum into the playoffs, similar to the way Green Bay did. Winning a Super Bowl is not about having the best overall team. In reality, it's about getting hot at the right time, and I think the Packers, Frank's favorite team, showed that last year. If you get hot at the right time, and I wanted to say to your Tony Romo thing. I mean, you can only really point to one game that he's lost in this year, and that was the Jets game, and it was in New York.
The Detroit game. Throw 2 pick sixes.
He didn't lose in that game.
He threw 2 pick sixes. That one.
What? You know what? Let's not go there right now. This is change subject. Let's just talk change topic.
It's November, and here comes college basketball. Season's finally about to start this week. Who, right now, Frank, season before preseason, your national championship pick?
I am on the bandwagon of the Tar Heels. I believe they are pretty much ahead of any team right now. I believe they have the experience. They have the freshmen coming in. I don't see right now any team. I'll give North Carolina's up here, and the next two, which are Kentucky and Ohio State, probably right here, right now. North Carolina has the best player, I think, in the college right now, Harrison Barnes. I believe he'll score around 20 or more points a game. They have two of the best big men, Tyler Zeller and John Henson, and plus you have McAdoo coming in. And they have a great point guard who runs that team well, as you saw last year in Kendall Marshall. And I believe that their offense will be so good, and their defense with Henson and Zeller in the middle will be good enough to go to the national championship. And I don't see anybody stopping them right now.
Now, I'll be honest. I don't watch college basketball as much as you do. I feel like just like I don't watch the NBA as much as I watch the NFL. It's just too many games happen at one time for me to really make this prediction. But going off of what I watched in the tournament last year, I mean, that's a very educated pick. Harrison Barnes is my favorite player in college basketball right now. I like him much more than I like Jared Sullinger, and I'm a diehard Ohio State fan. The way he matured in that Kentucky game would definitely lend a lot of strength to the argument you're making. But something about Kentucky right now is just when I watch them play and watch the way they walked off that court last year, I know they lost Brandon Knight, which I mean a lot of people don't agree with me on this. I think that might be a pretty big loss to them. But they gained who's that true freshman point guard they gained? I can't remember, but he's one of the best in the country right now. And I don't know, something about Kentucky just when I look at who they have on their roster, because we don't have any game right now to really analyze and say who's playing the best right now. Well, they clearly will win it. I don't think Ohio State will. I think at best Ohio State will maybe make it to the Elite Eight.
The thing about Kentucky is that I just don't believe they're just too young. The only one guy who's came back from last year that is actually one of the best players is Terrence Jones. I just don't think you can win with, as you saw with John Wall and DeMarcus Cousins and all of them, you can win a national championship with all those freshmen. While North Carolina has three of the best, two upperclassmen and one sophomore who know what they're doing, know pick to the tournament, and they also have the freshman coming in with James McAdoo. I just believe that Kentucky's just too young right now to win the national championship.
My question is, will that maturity that Harrison Barnes showed against Kentucky continue into this year? Because if it doesn't, then they're not. Then they're.
Right now, I just don't see how he can't mature more. It's just latter part of the season once they got into tournament play and with ACC championship, he just showed with the couple 40-point games that he can be.
He needs to be an animal for the only way to do it, and I think Kentucky has enough confidence after beating North Carolina in the tournament last year that they can.
Now, just then you brought up the freshman class coming in. With the NBA lockout right now, what effect does that have on younger players such as true freshmen or true sophomores like Jared Sullinger? Do you think that they are more eager to leave to the NBA now because of, are more eager to stay with their college team because of the lockout and the situation that's going on with the NBA?
Well, I think that's definitely what led to Jared Sullinger and Harrison Barnes staying in college basketball. Besides the fact that Harrison Barnes lost the way he did against Kentucky, I mean that was probably a huge thing, that you want to keep that fire. And same thing with Jared Sullinger. They both lost to Kentucky, national championship. Big. They both lost to them. And so I think that was one thing that really fired them. But yeah, the lockout situation. If I was a true freshman last year, I would have never and I love the game of basketball, and I was thinking about going to the NBA. I wouldn't want to sit out a season, and I think that's really what the reason why this year college basketball I think will probably be one of the best ever, because you actually have a strong sophomore class, which we haven't seen that in a while since the one and done situation. Because normally you would get the very best players like the Harrison Barnes or the Brandon Knights. They would have went to the NBA right out of high school. John Wall. They would have went to the NBA right out of high school. And now with the one and dones, I mean, you see a team like Memphis a couple years ago. You had a bunch of one and dones play really well, but then they just went to the NBA. So you don't get to see that team grow. You don't get to see that team mature and get better. This is the first year I think we'll have that in a long time.
I agree with totally what you just said, that they probably stayed just because of the lock. They knew the lockout was coming. I didn't think they probably knew it was going to be as bad as it is right now. Maybe they probably thought they were going to lose a lot of games, but I don't think they all thought it would be as bad as it is now. I bet if Kyrie Irving had another shot changing his mind, I bet he'd probably stay right now. Probably if they could take a whole year off of basketball. And I believe that that'd be like people staying, as he said, it makes college basketball so much more exciting, more watchable, more fun to watch. And I believe that I really don't like the one and done rule, that I say if you should either come out of high school, or if you go to college you have to stay at least 2 or 3 years. I just don't really like the go 1 year. What's the point of going to college for 1 year?
One thing I will say though is what the one and done has had. It's allowed college basketball, the tournament, to have a lot more upsets, because you have a team, for example, what was it? Cornell a couple years ago. You had a team of all seniors basically that lost all those games, that lost and won so many games throughout their 4-year career, and then finally you see them go through the tournament just playing with so much hunger and passion, because this is it for them. They want to be the best, and you have all that time to mature. So you have teams like VCU and stuff who have all that maturity build throughout their 4-year career. So then you go to the tournament and they're a lot more experienced than a younger team like that's a more well-known.
Now we only have one more question left for time's sake, but why do you think that is more ordinary to see the one and dones in college basketball instead of college football? Players leaving so early in the basketball for the NBA instead of for the NFL.
Well, one, besides the fact that in the NFL you have to you have to play college football for at least 3 years. You're not eligible to leave until your junior year, whether if you're a redshirt, you can leave your redshirt your sophomore year, but that's still your junior year. But, so there's a question: why don't more NFL players leave their junior year? Mm-hmm. Well, I think the jump to the NFL to college football is a lot bigger than it is from college basketball to the NBA. I mean, I was talking to this about a basketball player at our school, and he said if you can play basketball well, you can play it pretty well with almost anyone. Now that isn't always the case, but if you go to the NFL, you're dealing with a lot more physical strength. There are a lot more variables that play in an NFL game than they do in a college basketball game. You have the grown men running full speed at you, trying to hit you. You're trying to read a defense that is so complicated in the NFL that, I mean, a lot of times the camera people don't even know what's going on, and they're showing you one thing when really the play is all the way at the touchdown already, because the quarterback handed the ball off when no one was looking. Like stuff like that in the NFL is what makes the jump so much different. And I think a lot of times when you have juniors in college football, they haven't played since their freshman year. Only the elite guys really have. And I think when you see people like running backs or wide receivers, more of the skill, the very, very skilled positions, they go because, first of all, the life of running back isn't that long. Like someone like Adrian Peterson is not going to last in the NFL. Receiver, you're not taking as much as a contact as you do if you're a running back.
I agree with what you said, and I also think that basketball, it's the simplicity, where the NFL is so much more complicated than what it is in college football. In college basketball, there's not that much difference except for a couple different plays in that NBA. Pretty much the same. It's the same game for your whole life. It's pass, dribble, shoot, play defense. While in NFL, you have complicated defenses, complicated calls. Like when I'm watching on ESPN, sometimes when the NFL analysts say a difference in like the college play call to an NFL play call is so much more complicated that you can't even understand what it's saying. And also with NFL, it's you got bigger, faster, stronger people that know like if you take like Ray Lewis. If Ray Lewis was in college right now, he would be dominating. Like you can't. There's so much more. It's bigger, faster, stronger than NFL than it is in college football. While in college basketball, if like John Wall, he's athletic as either more athletic than people in the NBA when he was in college. So it's just not the same.
I think like I was saying before, there are exceptions to this. Like you're saying, what about someone like a JJ Redick?
Yeah,
like someone who doesn't.
There are always exceptions, but
for the most part.
Yeah.
If you're a quarterback if you're a junior quarterback, like this was one of the criticisms of Mark Sanchez when he first came out of college, that he wouldn't be able to handle the amount that the way that an NFL quarterback has, because you have to know the entire playbook. You have to know what the defense is doing. There's so much more that goes into it. When in college football, you're dealing with less plays. Your reads are a lot more simple because you're dealing with either like a cover 2 or a cover 1 or like a cover 3. It's a lot easier and a lot more to manage in college football than it is in the NFL.
But there's also the exception to the NFL, but very rarely, like the Matt Castle, who never started since his high school senior year and played well. He's been playing well in the NFL.
Right.
But for the most part, it takes a really long time for a college player to adapt to NFL style play right away.
All right. Thank you, Frank, Jahman. Stay tuned next week for another episode. Thank you very much.